Hey guys, Ethrion here from Langrisser C. I'm from the Guild Legion of Scorn, and this is part 6 of the Langrisser Mobile Beginner's Guide, and we'll be going over troops as well as bonds, which are the last component of what makes your hero stronger. We've covered basically everything else in the preceding two videos, and just to dive right into it, troops make a huge difference to not just your power of the hero. As you can see, if I were to switch to a tier 1 troop, troops actually make a big difference to your combat performance as well. The difference between a tier 1 troop that you can see here, 357 attack for example, a tier 2 troop which is 431 attack, and a tier 3 troop which is 600, which I'll remind you is almost double, is obviously very big. And don't forget that half of your attacks in single target attacks will come from your troops, so these are of great importance to train up. So this is the outline of what we'll be talking about today. Oh, I forgot to start my slideshow, sorry. So hero type and troop type, hero troop boost, training grounds introduction, and troop stat boost. And the last one is where do I find materials to upgrade my training grounds. So getting back to the game itself, the first part is just to remind you that your hero type and your troop type can be different. For example, my Elwyn is a Lancer Elwyn, however he can equip flyer troops, he can equip cavalry troops, he can equip infantry troops, and of course he can also equip Lancer troops over here. Why does that matter? Basically, if you're fighting an opponent, for example, Elwyn is Lancer, so technically he will usually be weak to infantry enemies. However, if you give him a cavalry unit, suddenly his troops are strong against infantry, and you can offset the weakness of him being a Lancer class. Or you can give him a masked maid if you want him to be neutral towards infantry yet still slice through Lancers. Or if you don't want any type advantage or disadvantage at all, you can always switch him to flyers. So this mechanic where you can mix and match troops depending on what you are facing on the battlefield is actually quite important, and troop choice is something that's very important to think about when you are starting either a mission or a PvP match. So your troop type can offset the weaknesses of a particular hero that you're bringing. For example, Lanford, he can bring Heaven's Guard, which is cavalry, which will offset his infantry weakness to cavalry. He can also bring other troops such as Amazon Champions for Lancers, or Steelwing Warriors and Griffin Knights for flyers. So another thing to note is that the troop boost that each hero gives is different. For example, you can see it for Lanford's troops, he gives 40% HP and 40% attack to these Steelwing Warriors. I will have you remember that Elwyn also can use Steelwing Warriors, and if you look at his troops, you will see that his troop boosts are in completely different areas, which means that his Steelwing Warriors actually perform very differently as compared to Lanford's. Well, not very differently, but they are definitely not the same stats. So you'll see that Elwyn has 35%, 35%, 15, 15, which means he actually has lower HP. His Steelwing Warriors have lower HP and attack than Lanford's. For example, 721 and 252. We'll look at Lanford, and you can see that 721, instead of 252, it's plus 288, and that is from his difference in troop boost. The difference can be very marked depending on who equips what troops. A prime example of this would be Leon and Angels. So let's equip Angels for him. You can see that he has 691 plus 277 because he has a 40% troop boost to attack. However, if you were to equip Angels onto Sherry, Sherry does not have very much of a troop boost to attack, which you can see that her Angels only have a paltry plus 139 to her attack, which means that her Angels hit a lot weaker than Leon's Angels do. So the same troop does behave differently on different heroes based on the individual hero's troop boost. However, you can also see that Sherry's troops will have a lot more defense and magic defense than Leon's, which means that hers should be a bit hardier when it comes to taking hits. So this is in the hero screen itself. Let's go to the training grounds, which needs no introduction to us veterans. The training grounds are basically where you upgrade your troops, and it is important to level up your training grounds because again, a lot of your combat power comes from your troops. Obviously, you want to max out the flat stats that you see over here: attack, defense, HP. You also want to max out as many of the percentage base boost stats as you can, and You want to get your training level as high as feasible, because that really does make a big difference when you're talking about PvE content or PvP content. But more important than the stats will be the actual troops themselves. So there are a lot of different potential troops that are available for every single field. This is just the infantry field that we're looking at. And depending on what hero you get, different heroes will be more important. You can also see that tier 1 troops are not represented here at all, which is why their stats are so pathetic. You are primarily looking to want to upgrade all your troops to tier 3. You want all your heroes using tier 3 troops, because tier 2 troops just cannot compare in terms of stats. Their stats are just a lot lower than the tier 3 equivalent. So depending on what heroes you're using, you will want to upgrade specific troops just to make them more effective in combat. So the aim is to eventually get your troop stat boost as high or to a balanced degree for the schools that are important to you. For example, if you use more cavalry troops or more flyer troops, then you want to focus on them instead. If you use more assassins or mages, then you want to focus more on them instead, and so on and so forth. So the last thing to ask will be, where do you get materials to upgrade your training grounds? Your training grounds will be upgraded from materials that can be gotten from Anikis gym. And because I'm doing this video on Sunday, all the gyms are open. This is not the case normally. From Monday to Saturday, different gyms open on different days, and you can see here that wait, do they say? I guess they don't say after all. So for Adon and Jones, the first two are available on Monday and Thursday. Valen and Rocky are available on Tuesday and Friday, and Samson and Nemes are available on Wednesday and Saturday. And on Sunday, it's no holds barred. Everybody's gym is open for training. You will not only need the SSR books, training materials, but you will also need the SSR materials or the SR materials in order to level up your troops. An important thing to mention is that some at the level 35 to 40 mark is when you first start running into tier 3 troops on the opponents, and you are stuck with tier 2 troops, and it's quite painful. In order to upgrade some or unlock some of these troops, for example, angels are over here. In order to upgrade angels, you actually need one SSR book just to get you able to use them. Even level 1 is better than nothing, so unlocking this for your Leon or your free Sherry, for example, that you start out the game with, is going to make a big difference to your offensive punch. And the main thing I want to highlight is that SSR books will start dropping from level 45, as you can see here. So if you can't clear level 45 on your own, at least ask someone to carry you for your daily reward, your daily Aniki reward, in order for it to guarantee you an SSR book so that you can unlock that tier 3 troop of your choice. So farming Anikis is important, and is where I spend the majority of my stamina every day, and I hope that you guys will also not neglect it as an area of growth, because troops really do make a big difference to your performance in combat. So that's troops. Lastly, we're going to talk about bonds very quickly. There's not much to say about bonds. Basically, every hero in this screen, including Matthew himself, has different bonds that can be upgraded to improve their stats in combat. So, by the way, upgrading Matthew's bonds only upgrades his bonds. It does not upgrade everybody else's. So we'll take someone whom I've neglected with regards to bonds. You can see that there are 5 small bonds over here, and that they have various conditions to unlock. Most of the time, the first bond is unlocked by itself, and subsequently, these subsequent bonds have certain conditions which needs to be reached. For example, you need to increase your intimacy for sure, and there's a secondary condition that you need to meet to unlock that bond. So for Alfred over here, he needs to win 5 times in the arena for the second bond. For the third bond, he needs to complete time with elite. So 1, 2, 3 are fairly straightforward. 4 and 5 is where the concept of bond locking actually comes into play, because usually, not usually, always, bond 4 and 5 will need the help of another hero in order to unlock that specific bond, and most of the time this is an SSR hero. So this adds an additional complexity to pulling for heroes, because you need to make sure that, for example, you have the heroes needed to unlock bonds for key heroes. Let's say your main offensive punch is Leon, and Leon needs Elwyn to unlock his last attack bond, right? So Leon without an attack bond A Leon without 13% additional defense is a very sad Leon. It's a very suboptimal offensive unit, and so bond locking and the units you need to unlock bonds will actually play a part in how you pull for SSRs. So I will put a link to a hero resource spreadsheet which tells you what each hero requires for each bond to be unlocked, and that's a master spreadsheet of sorts, so that you know who you need to unlock your favorite SSR hero's bond. So I've talked about the 5 small bonds on the surroundings. So the first bond is to increase soldier stats. The third bond is to increase soldier stats as well. The second bond is for hero stats, and the fourth and fifth bond are for hero stats as well. So you will only maximize your hero's power once you max out all of these small bonds, and of course not forgetting the big heart bond in the center. The big heart bond actually gives a lot of HP, defense and magic defense. It makes them tankier. And the last level actually increases all of your hero stats by 5%. And there are also additional special effects that you can get from upgrading your heart bond to level 4 and level 7. So where do you get materials to upgrade these small bonds? Let me show you an Alfred, because he's my demonstrator of sorts. So, or maybe just Virage. Have I upgraded his bonds? Oh, I have. My apologies. So let me just show you what is necessary with someone that I haven't upgraded bonds for. And who would that be? Kazuma? Have I done you? Oh my gosh, I've done you as well. Oh dear. Keith, I suppose? Okay, so you can see these bonding keys: simple heart keys, pure heart keys, bursting heart keys. And where do you get these keys from? You get these keys from the secret realm. Over here. And you get them from the bonding realm maps, which you have a daily reward of. So make sure to do this map at least once a day, and these will drop the heart keys that you need in order to upgrade your hero's bonds. Now what about the center heart bond, you might mention? Because the center heart bond requires completely different materials. Let me show you with someone that I haven't upgraded the center bond for example Emilia. So she needs these materials, which are only found in the Eternal Temple, which is something that is sort of mid to late game for PvE players. And this is basically also found in the Secret Realm and can only be done once a day. So it's a fairly limited resource over here. And the Eternal Temple bosses rotate every day. Today on Sunday is Sunday, so it's the Phoenix. However, the bosses rotate every day like the Anikis do, and you will need to farm these bosses, or at least to do Eternal Temple, in order to make your hero stronger by leveling up their center heart bond. So that is how you upgrade your bond. So once you put everything together from the preceding few videos, which is once you level up your heroes to level 70, once you fully upgrade their classes and add class mastery stones, once you fully train up their troops, once you upgrade all their equipment and enchant it accordingly, and last but not least, once you upgrade all of their bonds, including the center heart bond, then your heroes will be at maximum fighting effectiveness. So it seems like a long journey ahead, but take things one step at a time. Obviously, none of us playing now started off with all our heroes like this. We started from scratch. It's just that we started a long time ago, but just because you're new to the party doesn't mean you can't catch up. So yeah, I hope this series of making your heroes stronger has been helpful, useful, entertaining. And as always, this is Zethrion, signing off.